2024 is quite literally the best time to buy Yeezys. You can actually find pairs up to 70% off, which is something that we quite literally have never seen before. But a question that I keep on getting asked is, where do you actually go to find these steals? Well, to be honest, while it might be the best time to buy Yeezys, it's still pretty complicated. So we're going to be going over the best places to actually buy these Yeezys for the cheapest possible price. And we're not only going over the sneakers, we're also going over the clothing as well. So let's say you want a specific pair of Yeezys. The best place to start is Adidas themselves. Right now, the Adidas website has a bunch of different Yeezys listed for up to 70% off. The caveat to this is that they tend to sell out pretty quickly, especially the ones that are in higher demand. And also, not every single region are going to have the same pairs or pairs at all. For example, the US right now has a ton of different pairs listed, while here in the EU and the UK, we have nothing. They pulled all of them down. Adidas did say very recently, about a month ago, that they still have $150 million worth of Yeezy products that they plan to sell throughout the rest of the entire year. So I would not be surprised if we see more restocks through Adidas's website and of course all of their stores. So depending on when you're watching this video, they could have done a bunch of different releases since the time you're seeing this. So let's say you went to Adidas, you scrolled through all of their products and you found out that they don't have the exact pair that you're looking for. So where do you go next? Well, the next place to go is definitely retailers. Of course, I can't list every single retailer across the entire world that is currently selling Yeezys. So the main examples I'm going to be giving are for the US and the EU. But there is a lot of big national retailers that are selling Yeezys at the moment and will probably continue to sell them throughout the entire year of 2024. For example, if you live in the US, some of the bigger ones are DTLR, JD Sports, Sneaker Politics, Shoe Palace, and a bunch more. Whatever bigger or smaller retailer that you know exists in your country, it's definitely worth having a look. For the EU and the UK, we have somewhat similar options: JD Sports, Foot Patrol, Size, End Clothing, Flannels, and Sports Direct, just to name a few. As of right now, Flannels and Sports Direct clearly have the widest range. I believe they bought a ton of stock directly from Adidas in order to sell on their website. This is because they also have a lot of older models which we actually haven't seen restock since they originally released. Couple things to note about Flannels and Sports Direct. Sports Direct only sells junior pairs, and Flannels is a little bit hit or miss in terms of pricing. So some of the pairs just have plain, straight up, ridiculous prices that you can definitely find cheaper options pretty much anywhere else. But then they also have some really solid prices. For example, I personally got some really good steals from Flannels. I bought the Zebra 350s, the 700 MNVN, foam runners, desert boots, and all of them I only paid retail or less. I just think they're capitalizing on the people that maybe don't know that Yeezys are like 70% off now. So yeah, anybody who's like unaware, they're like, oh, Yeezys, and then just pay these ridiculous prices. But it's definitely worth checking all of these out. I'm not entirely sure if they do international shipping, but again, worth having a look. Wherever you are in the world, whatever retailer sells sneakers like Jordans, Nikes, it's worth just heading to their website, just search up Yeezy and see what they have. So let's say you've been to Adidas's website, you've searched through all of the different retailers and they still don't have what you're looking for. Well, this is when you gotta take things to the next step and actually go IRL to some Adidas outlets. This is worldwide. Currently in a lot of different, not just Adidas outlets, but also Adidas stores, they are selling a lot of their inventory and a lot of them are discounted up to 70% off. I have a ton of people who have sent me pictures of their current Adidas outlets. There's one in Germany that is selling Yeezy slides for a discount. You got foam runners, 350s, the list goes on. Obviously, all of the outlet specials like the 450s and the Quantums, they're all there. You can find some of the best deals at some of these outlets, so if you do live close to one, it's definitely worth making the trip. However, obviously, I know it's not going to be an option for everyone. Like for me, I live 2 hours away from the very closest Adidas one, so yeah, it's not like I'm going to make the trip unless I know there's some good stuff there. That's when you could potentially just try call them up, see what they have, or if they are selling Yeezys, and then decide if you do want to make the trip. So you've done Adidas's website, you've done retailers, hey, maybe you even took a trip to the outlets, they still don't have what you're looking for. Well, now unfortunately, it's time to hit up some of the resale platforms. Even though you may not find the absolute best prices, you can still find some really good steals, and these resale platforms are going to have like pretty much every Yeezy that ever was made. So the three big ones that exist globally are GOAT, StockX, and eBay. Of course, because all of these are like marketplaces, they are going to track the current prices for these shoes, so oftentimes you can find a lot of Yeezys under retail. And a good tip for any of these marketplaces is I would suggest trying to just chuck a bid up rather than just going straight away to buy now. Depending on what platform you're on, I highly suggest just making an offer, placing a bid, and that way you can just kind of wait it out, and oftentimes they are getting accepted. A lot of the people that are selling Yeezys through these platforms are a little bit more desperate. Maybe they picked these things up for a steal, so they have a higher margin to work with. And because there's so many Yeezys in circulation, there's so much competition with people selling them off. So yeah, I definitely suggest just don't buy it now straight away. You can find a better steal. If I had to personally pick what platform I would go with, it'd probably be eBay. I've always had a good time with them in terms of buying stuff, never had any issues, and oftentimes found the best prices. Okay, so now you know all of the best places to get Yeezy sneakers. Well, what about clothing? Because just like how all of the sneakers are being liquidated for ridiculously affordable prices, so are a lot of the clothing pieces. So I'm specifically talking about the Yeezy Gap collaboration, the Yeezy Gap Balenciaga products as well. You can find a bunch of these all well under retail. So the places that are mainly selling all of this product are places that specifically bought a lot of their inventory from Gap themselves, or people that had access to this product. And because of course the whole collaboration was cancelled, a lot of these pieces end up being like unreleased stuff. Now I do want to give a big shout out to the Yeezy Gap subreddit and Yeezy Attire, because they actually created an entire list of all of the best places to get a lot of this Yeezy Gap stuff. So they've got a full list of all of the different trusted websites and some kind of like tips and tricks for each one. So the first one is Paris Saint. I've actually shopped with them before. I bought a Yeezy Gap Balenciaga jacket, you know, the padded one. I also bought a couple t-shirts from them. Everything was pretty straightforward and solid. They've got very fair prices and a decent amount of stock as well. Next is F as in Frank. Now I've never actually bought anything from them before, but from what I can tell, they were like one of the first ones to get their hands on this Yeezy Gap product. They're a vintage store, and I think they have a decent lineup of different Yeezy Gap mainline items. A Repo Vision, another trusted place, although I've never bought from them before. Similar story to the next one, Kivado Kick. Again, never bought from them, but they do have a decent catalog of different products. New Republic, I've heard from a lot of people who have ordered from there. They've got a lot of Yeezy Gap and Balenciaga products. And then there's Los Angeles Archive, which does come with a pretty big asterisk by its name. So I actually made a full video on all of the products that they sell because I ordered a bunch of them, and all of the mainline stuff was perfectly fine. A lot of the t-shirts, the sweaters, the hoodies, the zip-ups, it was all perfectly legit and great. But things kind of got weird when they sold the Dove Balenciaga hoodie, because that came in and people started noticing that it was different to the original one in both size, feel, and also the print quality on the back. Now they did say that it was some kind of massive sample run that they had and they were just selling it off. But the fact that so many people have ordered this, and the fact that since even I bought mine, they have done multiple restocks, my intuition is telling me that something's a little bit sus here and they might be producing more of these. Which, yeah, if they are, I have no idea what the legality is behind that, because this is a Yeezy, Gap, and Balenciaga collaboration. But Los Angeles Apparel is trusted because they have worked with Ye very closely on a bunch of different merch releases, like his Donda stuff, some of his Yeezy Gap stuff, and of course the $20 merch as well. It's also worth mentioning that some people have had some issues with their customer service. Personally, I had no issues, but some people have been missing items from their packages and just not having a great response from them. It's also worth mentioning that they also have a Depop page, which is a place where you can find some pretty crazy sample pieces. They've got like a bunch of really random products, like the Yeezy scuba shoes, which was a pretty wild one to see. But they got like Donda merch, samples of the Sunday service pieces, Life of Pablo merch, and of course Yeezy Gap samples as well. Pretty crazy stuff on there, might be worth keeping an eye out. Feel free to use the comment section, let us know what places you found, what pickups you've been grabbing recently. But those are all of the best places to get the cheapest possible Yeezy product in 2024. If you want to check out another video, all you gotta do is click that one right over there.